Hello, this is not tea. This is a cup of random plant tasks that we're going to pick and choose 5 tasks to do today. I did this once before and it was a lot of fun. And I really wanted to do it again to motivate me to get some plant chores done. Things I've been like putting off or just things that I really want to tackle. So there's 10 in here and I'm not going to cut this part so that this is done fairly because I want to do what I pick. So yeah, there's 10 in here and we're gonna do 5 of them. Okay, we're gonna draw. Give them a good little mix. Okay, I'm not gonna peek. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think I have 5. Yes, I do. Ooh, I've been wanting to do this one. My pink princess, I have 2 that need to go into pond. They're in stratum, but I'm only going to do the one because the other one, ever since I cut it, it's just growing weird. I think I might end up propagating that one again, but I'm just gonna do the one that's ready to go, that's been ready to go. I'm gonna grow it in pond. My other one is getting really tall in pond and I can't grow pink princess in a different substrate, so I wanna get that one put into pond. Ooh, okay, we're gonna take some Hoya Linearis cuttings for the shop. So you guys can see how I propagate Hoya for the shop. It's so easy. I just use my prop mix, which is mostly tree fern and perlite. Ooh, this one's gonna be a sad one. I'm gonna prop my Monstera mint. It's a little unhappy and I'm gonna prop it. I'm thinking about just propping it and sticking it in water and then move it to pond because it's just not happy. If you watched my last video, which was my plant update, it's been like that ever since I severed all the babies away, all the tissue culture babies, and I think it's just working on its roots, but the leaves are droopy, it just doesn't look happy, so I think I'm gonna prop it. Okay, Hoya H pot up. I didn't know how to spell it, but it's the Heuschkeliana. I have it in stratum. I have so many Hoyas that I need to pot up, but that's just one that I randomly picked. And okay, chopped Monstera obliqua moss pole. This is another one that I have been tackling. So out here, you guys will see there's a ton of moss poles. I've been chopping them slowly over the last couple of days, and I think I'm gonna take tomorrow to chop some more. I'm just way behind on them, and I just need to take the time to do it. And what prompted me to do them is, okay, so I mentioned there were ants crawling on my philodendron moss poles in my plant update as well. And so I was in there watering, was it Sunday? And I was watering and an ant was crawling on my arm and I flipped out and I like flipped my arm. I like freaked out and I knocked, was it Majestic? I think I was reaching over to water Cebu Blue and I knocked the Majestic that was next to me in the Sorderoy, and it was just a cascading effect. I went to go grab it and then I saw ants and I freaked out, and so down they all went. So I had a mess to clean up Sunday. So yeah, now I'm taking time to actually chop and take care of them. So yes, fun little task, and so the rest of these we'll have to save maybe for a different day if I don't do some of these before then. So yeah, I'm gonna get set up. I think I'm just gonna work right here on the table. It's just easier because I have a mess everywhere else. I'm gonna grab my supplies and the plants and we'll get started. I have the first task, which is going to be this beautiful pink princess. This is a cutting that I took off of my original one. Well, actually I had 2 in my collection. I have like an old pink princess carrot video. It's like really old and you can see them both in that video. This one was a cutting I got locally in my early plant collecting days, and I got it as a cutting and I wasn't sure the variegation, but the seller told me like it had good genes, and you can see how much pink this one has already. And it's already mature, so it's growing out of its own caterpillar now. You know, normally it comes out of the lead leaf here, but now it has like its own caterpillar that it's growing out of. So this is a top cutting that I took because I propagated the rest of it, and I sold like, I think I sold 3 or 4 cuttings recently, and the other one that I have was highly variegated, and I grew that one in my collection to be really beautiful, and it kind of went downhill. And so I have that top cutting, and again, like I propagated up the rest. And that one is just not growing well. I think because I keep underwatering the stratum. They've been a stratum for several months now, at least. And they've been meaning to come out of here for so long, but I kept putting it off like I always do. So it is time. It is working on a new leaf here, but I think it'll be okay. I don't think it'll get too affected. And look at that stem. Look how pink it is. Look how vibrant. That is so pretty. And so yeah, my other one is growing well in pon, and then eventually I think I'm gonna let that one grow a little bit more, and I'll probably prop that one back to prop for the shop. If this one grows well for me, I'll probably keep one of these for my collection, and then the other one that I have growing, I'll probably just propagate that one up and maybe just take a cutting that ends up growing well for me, since it does have really good genes, but we'll see what I end up doing. We're gonna stick this one into pon. Like I said, I'm gonna use one of these self-watering pots like that. It has a wick and it's a small reservoir, because pink princesses, I feel like I struggle with them in soil. I just feel like the root system is so fine that I usually end up rotting them out. I don't know. I struggle with some philodendron in soil, so if I struggle with them in soil, I'm moving them to pon, and if they do well in semi-hydro, then I'll just keep them growing in semi-hydro. I have a container of stratum. This is all used stratum. It's just dry. I'm gonna dump the stratum that this one is growing in here, and I just reuse this for alocasia corms most of the time, or cuttings. And then I have my thing of pon here. This is rinsed. I need to rinse a lot more pon because I am going to be doing some pon upsizes soon, so I'll probably rinse more in the next couple of days after I tackle the rest of my moss poles. It's going to feel so good getting some of these projects done. And one's a moss pole at least, so I'm glad that I'm knocking another moss pole off the list. I did water this last night, which probably was a bad idea. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these roots are rotted because, yeah, I keep underwatering this thing. I do smell a pretty bad odor. This might not be a good root system. It's smelling a little funky. Oh man, that's not good. Let me take my water and swish it around in here. Once the plant's been growing in stratum for a while, I feel like the roots are stained black, if that makes sense. So it's hard to tell if the root system is healthy. I'm gonna have to rinse this under my sink. I was gonna save this stratum, but it's okay. I'll just get rid of this. Because like I said, this plant has been in here for a while. So it's actually not terrible. Like you can still see the pink coming through. I think there was some spots that were like a little rotted just from where it like got underwater, but for the most part, it actually doesn't look bad. So pretty decent root system. And then you can see the beautiful pink leaves. I like the backside too, because you can kind of see the pink. I still really love Philodendron Pink Princess. And I recently got a red Anderson. You guys saw that in the plant update that I did. It's still rooting, but once I get that rooted, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it into pond just because it's a similar plant, and I just feel like I just want it to go in pond. So like that, I do the wick about halfway. I was like, where'd it go? And, oh, I'm gonna have to put that down further. Always making such a mess. It's gonna be a tight little squeeze, but I wish these pots were a little deeper. We're gonna go for it. So it's gonna look like that. That root here is gonna be sticking up a little bit. I was just trying to think where I should put this plant. My plant room is so crammed, especially because some of the plants in there have grown so big. Like I'm gonna be redoing my Michelitzianas. Well, I need to upsize the variegated fried eggs. I'm waiting on one other thing to come in the mail, and then I'm gonna repot them. And yeah, I have, in that corner, I have 4 of those guys, and then I have big El Choco and those 2 Monstera constellations, so it is crammed pack in there. And a lot of my alocasias are getting huge. So I'm gonna have to start bringing some of the big plants out here somewhere. I don't think I'm gonna add anything for support just yet. I'm gonna be on the hunt for some clear stakes that are a little bit more sturdy. Usually the ones that I've been using are kind of thin, and they only go to like 12 or maybe max 16 inches. I just need something a little bit bigger down the road, so I might look for some. But she fits in there so nicely. This little home was meant for her. I got most of that root down in there. I'm just watering with silica. I don't have any fertilizer in here because my little squeeze bottle is out, and I don't feel like pouring more in there right now. So I'm just gonna water with just water with silica. This is Lechuzapon, so it does have some fertilizer in here, but I'll be watering this plant again probably later this week. So I'll just add fertilizer in next time. And this Lechuzapon, I rinsed it outside of my driveway for like 10 minutes, and it was so freaking dusty, and it's still dirty. So I'm gonna like water it through here and then dump this out. Look how dirty that water is still from all the sediment. Isn't that gross? Okay, so that wick is still dripping. I'm gonna leave this dripping, so whatever drips in here is gonna be the reservoir. I'm not gonna add any more right now, just to not overwhelm with too much water. This pond will stay moist for a while. Well, at least for several days, even if this is empty, but I'll keep an eye on it. Once this starts to appear lighter in color, once it starts to dry a bit, I'll refill it. She looks good. Oh, I'm excited to see this one size up. Hopefully that leaf will be okay. It's like pretty much unfurled. But I hope I get some more leaves like this one, like the big chunks is what I really like. So pretty. This one almost reminds me of like a black cherry just because it's so dark. So it very well could be, but I don't know if there's a way to tell. All right, that task is all done. So I'm gonna wrinkle that up and throw that away. We have 4 more left. Let's do, so this was our only pond. Let's do, why don't I grab the Monstera mint next, because I'm gonna let those ends callus, because I'm gonna propagate the entire plant back, and that might take like an hour. That way I can go ahead and get started on that, and then we'll do some of the other tasks and then come back to the mint. So I'll grab that one next. We are back with Monstera mint. Now I will say I haven't watered this guy in a little bit, so it's probably thirsty is probably why it's a little bit droopy too, but it just hasn't looked happy ever since I severed all those babies. If you missed it, I'll link the video I did. I think I had like 8 or 9 little pieces I took, and only 4 survived. And I sold them all, so the rest just kind of rotted away. But yeah, it just isn't happy. I don't know. So what I'm gonna do is prop it, and yeah, we're gonna do a top cut and then probably a mid cut. And I guess I'll have some little wet stick nodes I'll try and grow out. And we'll root the top cut in a vase of water. I like to root all my Monsteras in water. They just do so well for me in water. And yeah, once it grows back, we'll stick it in pond. I think it's really gonna like pond. So I have my Aria, I have the rest of my albos, my Ticons, all in like a soil mix. And so the only Monstera that I have in pond is the big albo that you guys saw me like upsize and extend. And that one took off in pond. And that was like my test Monstera to see how it would respond. Because at that time, I was still a little new with putting plants into pond, and I wasn't sure if a Monstera was gonna like it, and it really does. And so now it's made me want to put more of my plants in pond just because I love it so much and it's so easy. And obviously like the plants that I have in pond are responding so well and doing so well. So if it's easier for me, and it's easier for me to water pond, because sometimes plants in soil, unless you're just consistent all the time, which we all know that we're not consistent all the time, for me, it's hard to sometimes keep soil plants happy if you aren't on top of like watering, if you underwater, overwater, I don't know. It's just easier for me. Pond has just been so much easier for me. So yeah, that little piece here is rotted. That's just from the bottom of the pot. But I mean, everything in here looks good. So I don't know why it's unhappy. I really don't know why. Maybe it's just like dormant. I don't know, but the leaf curl to me just tells me that this plant isn't happy. They're just like, I don't know, they just don't look right. The spacing on this looks kind of tight, like Monstera Ticon. I might have to get my X-Acto knife. Well, I'm going to be cutting the root system off anyway because it's going to regrow a new thing in water. I'm going to cut this aerial root right here. We're going to cut that off. I already cleaned my shears with alcohol. And I'm going to cut this aerial root that's in the substrate. We're cutting it off. And yeah, if I'm cutting the root system, I'll just cut this entire thing out. We're severing away the entire root system. It's done. Sometimes when I do things, I don't think about it. It's like I know what I want to do in my head and then I just have to do it. Because if I sit and think about it, then I'm like worried, like, oh no, should I have done that? It looks like something's trying to grow back here on the bottom. You see that little piece down here? Like right here? Looks like maybe something's trying to grow back in. That is a very tight space. I'm trying to think how to cut this. So the node, where's the axillary bud on this guy? Normally I can see like the little eyeball on the stem where the growth point is. Like here's one right down here. There's a little eyeball axillary bud. Oh. Maybe it's buried down below the stem. I don't see it. I think I'm just going to cut this top one away. It has a root right here, so I'm just going to cut under here. I'm just going to go for it. Ooh, that's awfully close to the root. Let's hope that doesn't rot. And ideally, I would love to cut this again, but I don't know where the growth point is. I think I'm just going to leave this as a 2-leaf section because I don't want to chance something happening. So I know there's a little eyeball right there. So what I'm going to do is cut here and I'll have this bottom section. I'm going to cut right here. Oh, that went flying. So that little axillary bud here can grow. It's really hard to see. I could just pot this up, this little piece. And there's another little eyeball right here. It's really, 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 really hard to see on this plant right there. But there should be one more or two more. I don't know, but we're gonna stick this in water as is and see what comes out of here. And we'll stick this in water as is. And I don't know, I'll have to think about what I want to do with this, but I am going to leave these on the counter to callus while we do the rest of our task, and then we'll come back to that. Because yeah, the only thing I'm doing is sticking it in water, but I might pot up the bottom little piece, but we'll see. And yeah, I'll try and salvage what I can, because this is my aroid mix. I'll just like take the roots out and salvage the mix what I can. I actually might use some of this mix to pot up my, let's do that one next. My Hoya Heuschkeliana.
Heuschkeliana, I can't pronounce it.
I'll use some of this to pot up this guy. So we'll do him next, and then I think we'll take some Linearis cuttings and then we'll work on the Obliqua after that and then come back to the mint. All right, here is our mix. And this is the beautiful Hoya. It's so pretty. So I got this as I don't know, it was maybe like 4 little pieces that had hardly any roots. I got this from the Green Escape. It's been a long time ago. It was one of my first or second maybe purchases from them. And like it's taken so long to actually root and grow. So this is all that I have. And it's been in stratum the whole time, and I'm just ready to go ahead and get it out of here and pot it into my aeroid mix. I think I'm just gonna go with a 4-inch. It'll be able to stay in here for a while. And yeah, it's such a pretty Hoya. I love the color, I love the variegation, and it's just so pretty. The blooms on this one are really pretty too. I'm tempted to buy like a larger one to have in my collection, or like a couple to pot together so that I have a full plant. I feel like if I try to prop this and grow it, I feel like it's gonna take a really long time for this to actually root and grow to be able to like sell some. So I think I'm just gonna let this guy grow and go and grow, and eventually I'll prop it, or maybe down the road I'll get a second one. But it's really cute, I really like it. So yeah, it should be pretty easy. This stratum looks a bit wet too. I think I watered this not that long ago. I'm gonna dump what I can in here. Save what I can. Oh. Oh yeah, look at the little root system. I'm happy to see that. Oh, it's so pretty. So this is what we are working with. Yeah, that's amazing root growth from when I first got it. So I'm gonna rinse this under my sink really quick. Okay, I'm trying to leave it in a large clump like that. So yeah, we will pot it up just like so. I have gotten asked what makes me choose to put Hoya in like soil versus pond. And I do have some Hoya in pond now, but I don't know, I usually don't have a problem with Hoya in like a soil mix. I feel like for me, Hoya are pretty easygoing plants. I don't know, I've never struggled growing Hoya. And they just seem to do well in like a soil mix substrate. So I just pretty much kept them growing in soil. But now I'm starting to get a lot of plants in pond, and I was actually working on flushing my alocasias in pond. And it was taking me so long because I had a ton of other watering to do because I hadn't flushed them. I don't know, it was a while. You guys, can you guys even see? Okay, I've been chewed down a little bit. So the alocasia took a little bit to flush and everything, and now I have so many plants in pond that I don't want to overdo it. I'm not trying to like move my entire collection over to pond, because I still love like a good soil mix and everything. So probably the Hoya that are in pond, I'll probably leave in pond, but the rest of them, when I go to pot them up, I think I'll just use my aeroid mix. Oh, it's so stinking cute. Oh. Yeah, I think there were 4 cuttings. So once they actually start growing, like all the individual cuttings, I might prop it and fill it out down the road. Oh, it's so cute. I have this one living in the Acrobar over there, so that's where it's been. It's just been under the 10-watt Barina light. But it does make me feel like this one doesn't grow as fast as other Hoya. For you guys that have one of these, does yours grow slow, or does it grow fast like once it's established? Maybe because mine wasn't really rooted or anything, it just took a while to establish. And now that it's like establishing, hopefully it'll start growing faster. I could probably get it under more light and it would probably grow faster. Because these can sun stress too, because this new growth is pretty pink on it there. So cute. I'm going to use this to probably pot up another, I have another Hoya I can probably do with the rest of that. I'm just going to do a quick little water. While that's draining, let's go take some cuttings of our Linearis. That is going to be our next little task. She's so pretty. I do have my other one in my plant room. I need to water this one actually too. It's pretty thirsty. So I don't want to take a bunch of cuttings at once because I want this one to grow and I don't want it to shock or anything. So I've been taking like a few strands like every other week because I'm using this one to prop for the shop. So I kind of just take a strand and what I do is just kind of cut it at the top somewhere, like anywhere on the stem. So for this, I'm just going to cut like on the stem here, like right there. Boop, that's one strand. I'm going to take this longer one here. Same thing, I'm going to cut right here. Boop. And I'm going to do one more strand. I'm trying not to cut a strand that has new growth. I think that first one I did accidentally because some of the strands haven't grown from this point yet. Like this one has a new growth, so I don't want to cut that one away because that one's going to continue to grow. Oh, I thought that was a peduncle. I was about to go crazy. I've been dying to have Linearis blooms. Let's go ahead and do this other one on this side, this one here. I'm just going to cut somewhere at the top right there. Boop. Down it goes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give this a water at the sink, give it a drink, and then we'll cut our 3 strands. All right, here are our 3 strands. And I usually cut this in 3 to 4 spots. So this is the end where it's growing. So this is the bottom. So I like to make sure I have the right way facing facing the right direction because I plant these right into my prop mix and they'll root. And then I make like a few little pots and then it usually takes, I would say 3 to 4 weeks and then I can start to sell them. These guys root up pretty quickly and grow. So that's the top on that one, and that's the top on that one. All right. So if there's some dead spots, I kind of cut where there's a dead spot. So like right here, there's a dead spot on this one, so I'm gonna cut right here. That's a small piece, but that's okay. I'm going to cut away that node. So that's one piece. So this one, I'm going to cut this one in a spot there. So we'll plant those two pieces together, and I'm going to go here. I usually do 3 cuttings per cup. So that's the ends that we'll plant into our prop mix. So that is that. And this one, we have some missing leaves. So same thing, I'm going to cut this one here, like so. And I don't like that that one's missing so many leaves. 1, 2, 3. Since this one's missing, well, no, I'll probably just keep this as 3. Sometimes I add a 4th in, but it depends. Right, and then I'm going to cut this one more time. We're going to cut this one. We'll do here. And so that's another 3. Okay, and then we have this long vine here. So we're going to do 1 and 2. Yeah, doesn't want to cut. Let's see, so the one that's missing some leaves, I'm going to do 4 in that one, and this end one we'll do with this. So out of the 3 strands, I'm able to make 4 like nice pots, and then once they root and grow, we'll list these. But I'm going to grab some of my prop mix and I'll show you how I plant them real quick. All right, so I have 2 of these little cups. I poke a hole in the one that I plant in, and then I sit it in one that doesn't have a hole. It just helps retain a little bit of moisture when I'm potting up props. So I have 4 of those, and all that I do is I take some of my prop mix, and then I don't let these callus or anything. I just stick the bottoms where we had cut. I stick them straight down into the prop mix, like so. And then I just fill up around. And it's okay if some of the leaves get buried down in there. So I just stick them like that, and then I fill up. Yeah, Loon? Now my prop mix is mostly tree fern and perlite. It does have a little bit of spag moss and a little bit of cocoa husk. Not a lot though, but it's mostly tree fern and perlite. And Hoyas really root so well in tree fern and perlite. So if you struggle rooting Hoya and you don't have stratum, or you don't like stratum, try a bit of tree fern and throw some perlite in there. I bet you're gonna have really good results. And like that, and I just add some water. It's that simple to root these guys. But it's important that you get the right direction, because like this guy here, even though he's sticking up, like what if that was the bottom? Do you know what I mean? Because you want the right end to grow. So it's why I do it this way, so that I don't get confused. Now it's moistened, and yeah, I just put it under the Barina lights in there. And just make sure it doesn't go like completely dry. And that's why having the under cup, it'll catch any extra runoff. And it just helps keep it more on the moist side, because these little cups can dry out very quickly. Yeah, you should start getting roots, I would say, in about a week and a half or so. Here is Monstera Obliqua. Look how long. It's falling off the pole. So I've already chopped my Monstera Obliqua back down to here, and this is all regrowth. And I'm basically going to do the same thing, because last time I chopped it all the way back, I propped all the like cuttings, all the nodes, and I sold so many of these. I probably sold 20 or so of these plants already, and like starter plants, and I have 3 more that are growing, and I have some wet sticks and stuff rooting and stuff. So I feel like with this plant, I'm going to continue to do the same thing, because it gets a little unruly, because sometimes it'll want to throw runners, and like this here, and then it like popped some leaves. So yeah, it's time. I mean, I could extend it again, but I just got to a point where I severely underwatered this plant, and it's caused a lot of yellowing, a lot of like underwatering stress. So yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is, it's on 2 poles. I think I might cut it here and probably take cuttings. Oh, these probably aren't rooted then, because I need some that have roots in the actual pole. I didn't think about that. Shikes. I don't know. I'll probably cut it somewhere like down in here, and then I'll propagate the rest up for the shop. But since this one is kind of falling off the pole, I'm just gonna go ahead and prop this, because I'll have a ton of wet sticks. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this right here. I'll root this beautiful top cut in water. I'll leave another node in case it decides to activate something else. And hopefully this guy will continue to grow for somebody. Once this roots, I will pot it up. Now, based on my experience with Monstera Obliqua, so normally I will do leaf cuttings, right? And I would say the last time I did leaf cuttings, I think I had like 15 or 20. All of them, except for 1 or 2, produced a runner as the new growth. So basically the original leaf yellowed off, and I just had a runner. So basically I propped a leaf cutting, I waited for it to grow, to root, to produce new growth, only to then cut it back. I had to cut the runner off and basically toss the original leaf, because it didn't have a node anymore, because I cut the growth away, the runner. So I basically just had to grow the runners as a wet stick in order to get them to grow. So I'm not going to keep the original leaf unless it's like a top cut like this, and I don't think I'm going to have any more. I'm just going to go ahead and abort and cut the leaves off, because these will grow just much better as a wet stick. It'll take a while to grow as a wet stick, but yeah, there's just no point in growing these with the leaf, because based on my experience last time, yeah, I'm just gonna prop them as wet sticks. And so that's the individual node here that'll sprout, because these will grow as a small plant. These won't run. This one is kind of off the pole a little bit, but it's the pretty growth, so I kind of want to keep this growth for me and just anchor this on a bit. We'll see what we have going on here. I'm going to go ahead and take this apart where the 2 poles meet, right here. Huh, I don't know why that has a piece of tape over it. Maybe because it wasn't latching. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these vines. I'm just gonna cut them. It looks like there's 3. Hopefully there's roots in here so I can plant this as is. I think that's what I'll do. I'll just plant this as is and extend an empty extension on. I'd like to cut more away though, because I have a feeling this is going to be at the top again in no time. I honestly don't even know if this has roots now. I guess we'll see. So this will be our plant. And yeah, we'll use this pole for the extension. So I don't think there's any more top cuts though. Lots of little wet sticks. Whoops, so this one here was cut already. It's gonna be hard to, so I cut it here previously, and so this is the growth that grew. So basically this is like a dead cutting, but there's actually one more node right here. I don't know if you can make it out. So this will regrow. I'm gonna leave this one with the leaf and see if it produces a runner, then I'll just cut the runner off, but I might prop that because I don't think I'm gonna be able to get in here and cut. I mean, I could, but we'll see. I don't know if that made sense. I just root the nodes in sphagnum moss. So for example, this leaf here, this node will most likely grow as a runner. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pull the leaf off. For some reason with the leaf, it wants to grow a runner, but as a wet stick, it'll grow as a new plant. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that with Monstera Obliqua or just me. But that's just my experience. I mean, I hate to get rid of these like pretty original leaves, but they just yellow off. So yeah, we're just gonna do nodes. Getting down to the nitty-gritty. You guys can't see the bottom part. I'm almost done here. My battery died accidentally. I finished taking the plant off the pole and I washed the pole out. I'm gonna downsize to a 5-inch. I think I had put it in a 6-inch. I'm not sure why. And I have to plant the top part yet and extend it. I am moistening some moss. And so here's the top cut that will root in water along with this cutting here. We'll just stick that in a cup of water. And then these are all the wet sticks. I'll put these in a bin of sphagnum moss here and they'll regrow. So that is for the shop. So let's get to potting this up. I'm trying to decide. I think I should just pot it up like this. I don't think I should try cutting more off. I'm worried this plant doesn't have enough roots in here because this one strand doesn't even seem rooted. I'm going to take this leaf away though. Okay, that looks better. So I'm going to remove some moss out of here so we can replant. Oh, I see some root. As long as there's some root, I'm okay with that. It's coming out so easily because it's not rooted. Okay, we're gonna fill this part with our aroid mix and plant it in here. I hate doing like plant care stuff in the kitchen, but I just don't have anywhere else to film right now because it's literally a hot mess everywhere. Like this house is so messy with plant stuff. I'm gonna use the rest of this first. Okay, all right, plant the bottom. Whoop. All right, we're gonna fill this up to the top with our mix. Okay, so you guys can see what I'm doing. So that is the new base. And in 3, 2, 1, this will be filled with sphagnum moss. Just like that, we have our pole. The magic of editing. All right. We are going to connect. I really didn't want to do this task because I know I have so much more moss pole work to do, so I was dreading this, but I'm glad I'm taking care of it. Okay, now to get this one growing on the inside. It works for now, so that's what she looks like. To water this in because I'm surprised it didn't fall out. It was like lifting up because it doesn't have any roots in here. So yeah, we'll water this here and put this back in our plant room somewhere. And yeah, like I said, I'll find a vase of water for these. I'll do these wet sticks off camera. I'm just gonna put them face down in some moss. I just have to find a container. And yeah, let me clean up this little bit of moss mess here, and then we'll take another look at our Monstera mint. And I'm still trying to decide what to do with this little bottom piece. I don't know. I need a minute to think about it, and I'll be right back. All right, it looks like the ends have dried enough, like I feel comfortable sticking these in water. And so I'm just gonna put these in this vase of water, just like so. So we have our top cutting, and then I was gonna cut this again, but it's just the spacing is so tight. I don't know if I wanna risk that, so I'm gonna let that root. Hopefully these guys root okay. I don't know if it being like a tissue culture, it just seems to not grow as well for me. I don't know. Yeah, it's just interesting how like bad it did since I took all those babies away. I probably shouldn't have chopped it. That was probably my mistake, but we'll see. Hopefully it bounces back. I'll probably stick this in my window so it can get some good light so it can root pretty quickly. And then I decided I'm gonna do this little chunk here in a cup of stratum, because this root system is not gonna root well. It's not gonna do anything. If I put it into soil, I feel like it's gonna rot, and it doesn't really have a leaf to do water, and I don't wanna stick this into pond. I mean, I probably could, but since these are soil roots, they're most likely gonna rot, and this little piece is so tiny, so I think I'm just gonna stick it in some stratum. Oh my gosh, see, how did I know that was gonna happen? I am not prepared. All of my utensils are gone. All right, wish my little Monstera mint tissue culture good luck. I might have 3 cuttings from this and they'll grow, or they could all die, or maybe just one will grow. We'll see. If anything, I just want the top cut to grow so I can restart my plant back. So yes, here's that. Good luck to that. And yeah, the pink princess, I'm so excited. I got the pink princess done. The Hoyas potted up, they look so good. And I got the Hoya Linearis cuttings. I put those in the other room. And yeah, I just gotta find a vase for these and do the little wet sticks, and that's it. And I'm gonna get my mess cleaned up. I was like dreading some of these tasks. I guess I was really just dreading this. I don't know. It just seemed like it was more work than it was. I don't know why. Moss pole stuff sometimes just stress me out because I'm like, it's just so much work, so involved. So I don't know. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this little afternoon of, yeah, random plant task. I'm glad I got some stuff done. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. Let me know down below if you have any questions, and I will talk to you again soon.